Lord, I find you in the seeking. Lord, I find you in the doubt. And to know you is to love you, and to know so little else I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you.
I've been thinking a lot over the last few days about both the fragility and the resiliency of the human spirit, and I don't think these two things are mutually exclusive. First, our fragility. We've been reminded through this extraordinary time of distancing and isolation and radically upended routines that we all have our limits and our breaking points. There's only so much we're willing to put up with, only so much we're willing to compromise on before we start giving up or giving in, before we start making demands, before we start folding under the weight and pressure of the things that burden us. Sometimes it takes a great deal of time and repetition before we reach these breaking points. Something uncomfortable or unpleasing has to happen over and over again before we're willing to say or do anything about it. But sometimes it can happen instantaneously, in the blink of an eye. Because what I've observed through my years in ministry about myself and others, and this has been confirmed for me through this COVID-19 crisis, is that many of us live our lives uncomfortably close to the edge. We're ready to fold, ready to fight, ready to simply give up and give in. We are indeed very fragile creatures, easily discouraged, easily let down, easily set off. But what I've also observed through my years in ministry about myself and about others is that in addition to being fragile, we are also incredibly resilient. And again, these two things are not mutually exclusive. I've witnessed people face incredible hardships with unimaginable courage and hope. I've witnessed people withstand crises of health and relationships and faith and suffer devastating losses only to get back up with a fighting spirit to move forward in their lives. We as a country, as a community, and as individuals have lived through fear, uncertainty, scarcity, change, loss, and everything in between, and we've managed to find the grace and the strength and the perseverance we've needed to carry on. And we, of course, find these blessings in the people around us so often through the love and support of family and trusted friends. And we also find them through taking care of ourselves through prayer, exercise, and recreation. But we also find the blessings that see us through hard times by remembering that we are a small part of a bigger picture. Because what I've observed is that true strength, true resolve, and true patience and perseverance don't come from within, though we can certainly train and condition ourselves to be more natural carriers of these virtues, but their original source and origin is only of God. This past Sunday, the fourth Sunday of Easter, is commonly referred to in the church as Good Shepherd Sunday. Every year we read from the 10th chapter of John in which Jesus refers to himself as the Good Shepherd. He is the one who guides his people, who keeps us together and intact as we move from one place to another. He protects us from all danger and even risks his own safety for the health and well-being of his flock. In addition to John 10, we also read the 23rd Psalm every year on this Sunday. And I was reminded this year of a beautiful Native American translation of this psalm, which reads in part as follows: "The great Father above a shepherd chief is. I am his, and with him I want not. He throws out to me a rope, and the name of the rope is love. He draws me to where the grass is green and the water is not dangerous, and I eat and lie down and am satisfied. Sometimes my heart is very weak and falls down, but he lifts me up again and draws me into a good road. His name is wonderful. He throws out to me a rope, and the name of the rope is love." I love that line, and I want to encourage you to hold it in your mind as I offer a couple of illustrations. I've been told that in days gone by, back when the Midwest winters were more severe, it was not uncommon for families to tie a rope from the back door to the door of the barn. That way, if someone had to go out from one place to the other during a blinding blizzard, they'd be sure to find their way safely back again by holding on to that rope. The other illustration comes from a song by the great Leonard Cohen called "The Future," in which he wrote, The blizzard of the world has crossed the threshold, and it has overturned the order of the soul. He throws out to me a rope, and the name of the rope is love. Maybe when we feel disoriented, when we feel fragile like we're nearing our breaking point, when we feel that the order of our souls has been overturned by the blizzard of the world, we would do well to look for that rope whose name is love. Where is our good shepherd, and how is he tending to us, looking after us, keeping us together and safe? Last Wednesday, Jennifer mentioned St. Anselm, and I couldn't help but think about him today as I was preparing this message, and I remembered specifically his first ontological argument, that is, his proof for the existence of God. He wrote in the Proslogion, and he said this came to him in a dream, that God is that which none greater can be conceived. And he went on to say that if we can conceive this concept, it must have been planted in our hearts and in our minds. And if this idea of that which none greater can be conceived exists, if indeed the word God is even part of our mental vocabulary, then it must exist necessarily and outside of our minds in reality. So may our God, who exists in reality, whose name is above all other names, and who far exceeds any other thought or idea our minds could ever comprehend, may our God give you his blessing, his strength, his peace, and his favor, and may he throw out to you a rope of love and draw you back to himself.